Yeah, well, the culture is shifting here because there's no culture. Well, there'll be none left, only what we manage to maintain or to hold on to by kind of retelling it, if you like. I mean, there was a whole culture here of going to the pub, telling stories. That's changed. The culture, I mean, apart from some Irish music groups who would have you believe that we're still in the 1930s, like. There aren't any house dances with me granny sitting on the fucking mantelpiece playing the melodeon, like, anymore, and my uncle over in the corner playing the tin whistle, like, it doesn't happen anymore. And if it does happen in 10 places, like, maybe, that they put this forward as an argument, it's gone. So, I mean, all the Irish music, and when I was young, certain of the songs I sung were being sung by ballad singers in the street. It's gone. Fellas, they weren't called buskers then. They was the same thing. They were singing in the street and selling penny sheets. I got the end of it, like, it would have been before my time, but I just got the end of it, and I would see them at fairs, the last of those guys. That's gone, and I mean, obviously these changes are going to happen because the culture was tied up with sort of travel by horse and car, which was a more leisurely of necessity. So you had to make journeys to go to small places, and say a place 10 miles from where you lived would have had its own local accent, its own local foibles, if you like, because there wasn't the mass communication there is now. Now, I mean, you go down to Kerry and you ask a young girl from a convent school, how do I get to what? She'll answer in the same accent as a young one from the Holy Child in Killiney. And they have all this sort of new speech coming into Ireland now. I mean, they say things like, it needs repairing. That's an English construction of a sentence, which is very grand for the English. But we would have always said it needs to be repaired. Or, it needs to be repaired. And they're having all these, and then this tabloid language, L-O-R-R-A, for a lot of. And, I mean, I like a lot of English speech. Cockneys are like New York, but it's their speech, it's not ours. And then this most horrible thing. Now, I heard referred to on one of the programs here. Now, all my life, I'd heard two pronunciations for a place in Kilkenny called Gowran Park. Gowran was what I've always heard. Then the real heads would call it Gowran. See? But you knew the two pronunciations. I heard somebody on radio last week, some young one, referring to Gowran Park. I thought, where's she talking about? Another one referred to Clonee. It's a place outside Dublin. And since Adam was in the Highlanders, it's called Clonee. No, come on. They don't even know the place names. They don't even know the place names in Ireland. And so it's all, and we have to borrow all this language. And our own language was, I thought, very rich the way we used it. And the turns of phrase. I mean, not in any particular part of the country, but in all parts of the country there were these turns of phrase which were explained something very well, and there was a certain poetry about it, which is now missing.